Hello and welcome to No Load Time. Joel here. I'm with Obed Velez, and unfortunately, we've already started to experience some technical difficulties, but we're getting it all figured out. We just want to tell you all thank you for being with us. It's been a unique week for us here personally. We're pushing through, still making sure to bring you all the greatest content we can. But thank you so much for sticking with us. We've been growing lately. Obviously, it's been a few weeks since San Diego Comic Con, and since that time, we've made an effort to consistently figure out what type of content we want to bring to you guys that you guys really are enjoying. And of course, last week was just one of those weeks that we just had an explosion of the big Warner Brothers news that came out. That was a shock to most of us and really a shock to the world as a whole. So we're going to bring a lot more of a this week, a little bit of a recap and more of an update to give you guys some more formal thoughts on some things that are both rumors and now things that are confirmed. There's a lot of things going on also in the space from gaming. There's been yeah, I hear you, Obed. Okay, okay. The people out there. Oh, if the people out there can hear you, put a heart in the chat, guys. Um, but I will say, we with this week we've got again more content from Evo's side. We're gonna be talking a little bit about what happened this week over on that side. We're gonna talk about Disney. We're gonna be talking about a couple other smaller items. So you want to make sure you stick with us. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast platforms like Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud. Find us on those podcast platforms, and we appreciate you watching, listening to us live. But make sure you also go back and subscribe to those platforms. That really helps us out significantly. It's really something that's going to help us as we continue to push the show forward and get those numbers up. And we do this out of our own pockets. We do this out of our own hearts. So we're really happy to be here with you all. I will say we are going to have to take a break early on. Stick with us. We're going to talk about the Prey. We're going to talk about a lot of things, guys. So do not leave. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back in just one moment.
the Yeti. Hit OK.
Oh, I think they're hearing us. I saw something pop up there. Okay, I think we're good. Something pop up there. Okay. I can, I don't know if we can hear you.
No, we're good now.
Okay.
Yay. Hello.
I don't know if we can hear you.
And
I'm
welcome
playing back live
to
here.
YOLO Time. we're super
No,
live.
you're good.
Hey,
You're
we're
good.
winging it.
It's
Screw it.
working.
You know
It's
what? You know
working.
what? It's been a crazy week
Yeah.
in many aspects. So I am Obed Velez, or what's left of me. And Joel Young already did his little intro there. We're
Yes, I
good to
did.
roll, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Let's jump into this, man. And we're glad to be
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know we got some new stuff to run through, but the first thing I just want to hit off from a what's up is I had to. I mean, you and I had talked about it for a few weeks. We didn't jump on the train. We had been in this for a bit, but the Prey movie, is something that seems to be really taking the internet by storm these days. The Prey being, of course, the prequel to the Predator, streaming right now on Hulu in the States. I think it's on Disney Plus and other international areas from what I heard.
Boo.
But look, I got to tell you, man, I absolutely enjoyed this movie to the max. And it's you look at it on paper, you think it's just going to be this extremely violent, gruesome event, and they're just gonna be kill or be killed and whatever. But there's so much heart in this movie. There's so much not wastefulness is what I will say. Like the pacing is really well. The dialogue's really good. You learn a lot. Like, you know nothing of these characters. These characters are completely new outside of us knowing the predator species.
Yeah.
In this movie, and by the end of this movie, you're completely engrossed in this environment, these characters, and what they mean and what they're all about, and it makes you want more. And they clearly set it up without spoiling it for another story to be told in the same timeline.
Nice.
And cover your ears for those who don't want to hear. But look, let's be real. Next one, they're gonna have it be similar to a Planet of the Apes type thing, where the first one you kind of have Caesar gets loose with and free. The second one around, you kind of have the ape army. I think this next one around, you're gonna have a tribe army versus the predator army. But I'm excited to see where they go with it, and I'm glad to see word of mouth's really good, because if people keep watching it, keep seeing this, it sends a message to the powers that be. I mean, remember, this is a property that was acquired. This was not originally not a Disney original. This is something that was acquired from this Fox acquisition that happened a few years ago. So I'm glad that we'll talk about the WB stuff, instead of them just saying, "Hey, we bought this thing, let's kill it." They actually decided to put this movie out, and clearly it is something special, and people are really enjoying it. I can't wait for you to see it. We'll talk about more when you get to check it out. But yeah, man, Prey was my main update I wanted to give you guys on. Go out and make sure you check it out for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it definitely looks pretty interesting. Not much on my end. I finished a couple of Mario games. If you guys want to hear about that. So, my daughter and I started playing Super Mario World, which I haven't finished in 30 years. so I think the last time I played Mario World was sometime probably 1992, right? I got that game with my Super NES and 100% it back in the day, but I really haven't gone back to it. So we played it. We made it to the end. So finished that. That game again still holds up, bro. It's like, talk about games that really don't age, right? And yeah, it's a little slippery, right? And especially when you compare it to the sort of like control scheme and physics that Mario Maker has. You can tell that it's a little slippery and it's a little not rough around the edges, right? But it's a little different. Um, and that was the first thing that my daughter told me is like she was playing. I was like, oh yeah, it's like Mario Maker. Like it's like she was trying to tell me that the control is tighter, basically. Um, but she was saying that Mario Maker jumps better, and that's I totally agree. That said, dude, that game holds up. Made it to the end, pretty good. Finished Super Mario Galaxy on the with Mario 3D All Stars on the Switch, and that game is freaking phenomenal, dude. I never owned, I never had a Wii when the Wii was out. I was PS3, and I was like, what's this kids thing with emotion? I was like, the edgy gamer back in the mid to late odds. So, fantastic game. It was so good. Definitely a work of art. Is it better? Like a lot of people like it better than Mario Odyssey. I think Mario Odyssey is better. Like Mario Odyssey is a more I don't want to say complete game, but in a sense, it is a more well-rounded experience. That's how I would describe it. But regardless, it was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. Really good stuff. Takes it really takes a little bit taking getting used to the controls. That game was for the Wii. I was playing with the Pro controller on the Switch, so it really feels a little bit different. Um, but once you get used to it, it's a phenomenal experience. So nothing really negative to say there. Um, and Elden Ring. Okay, so like what 83 hours in, right? I got two. I got the two final bosses left from the main story, and I have two optional bosses. One of them is what a lot of people consider to be the hardest boss in the game. Um, and yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to actually getting. I got to the area where that boss is, but I haven't fought the boss. And then I got the two bosses left for the story. So yeah, I'm there. Like I'm there. That game is freaking phenomenal. It's like when you that game is like uh, I mean, we can use the onion analogy, right? You're peeling an onion, right? Uh, but it's what's crazy is that every layer it just keeps getting better. It,
Mm.
and I mean, what's good thing is even for someone that hasn't played this sort of game, I think it would be a good experience. As long as you don't follow the trail, like I said at the beginning, right? It's like don't follow you will follow the trail to certain death if you basically follow it. So
Yeah.
don't follow it. It's like do your thing when you feel that you're ready, go right. Um, and that's basically been it. Like that's been my motto throughout the whole playthrough has been um, I'm gonna do my thing, and when I feel comfortable, I'll go. I was doing a couple of things wrong. I was not using things how they were supposed to be used. There's a lot of like there's a very extensive crafting system in this game, and I have not crafted one item. And I'm at the end of the game. I'm like two bosses away from the
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
So it's like you know what, whatever, whatever. I'm good. Um, but it's a phenomenal experience. So again, I highly recommend it. It's not for the not for the impatient for sure. It's
No, no.
it's a lot. It's a game that really requires dedication, especially if you're not used to this type of game. Um, but yeah, I guess I'll have a full review once I finish the main story. As I did with Bloodborne before. I think it's Bloodborne is really good. It's really 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 good. It's just that this game is so expansive, and when you think that there's nothing there, there's just new stuff keep like either happening or you keep finding like, hey, I can actually jump here, and from there you jump to another area and you uh casually find a boss and you find the boss, right? It's just I think when it comes to discovery, I mean, the only other game that I can really compare this game to is Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild had that same sense of like discovery and environmental storytelling. Um, this is like the environmental storytelling on Breath of the Wild is absolutely phenomenal, right? But this takes it up to like 11, dude. It's like it's the Breath of the Wild on steroids. So the only thing that I don't like is that you can't climb, right? Breath of the Wild, you can climb anything at any time as long as you have the stamina. This one is you gotta be very careful on what you do. So good thing is that in this game you don't have weapons degradation. So I really hope that for the sequel to Breath of the Wild they do remove that because I wasn't a really big fan of that. So but yeah, that's what I got, man. I'm still not watching anything. I was like, I'm taking a break, and we'll talk about Disney Plus here in a minute. But Joe, let's go ahead and I guess we can do the WB. What are you doing? Segment of the show. If you want to go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, we've got a series of updates here. The first being, I want to talk a little bit about Batgirl just one more time, really quick. Since we last spoke, some different information is coming out from pretty reputable places. Specifically, over at the Wrap, there was an interview done with uh, one of the writers, editors on that side, and someone from Fandango recently. Some of you maybe have been aware of this. A lot of the stuff that came out of that interview turned into news stories. And those are the stories we're talking about today. But the first thing that was said in that interview was word of mouth from the people who actually saw the test screening for Batgirl. It was said that it reviewed from the test screening just as well as the newest It movie that came out, not the sequel to it, but the first one of that remake of It that came out a few years ago. We all know that went on to do, I think, for like $700 million or somewhere along
Did
those
really
lines. It
well, yeah.
did absolutely bonkers at the box office. And then the other one that it was also said to reviewed similarly to was Black Adam, the first cut of it, which so Black Adam, they really made it clear they really feel really good about in the investors call last week, and Warner was saying how they have full confidence it's going to do very well. But I think that's a little bit interesting to hear, considering that a lot of us, and even I mentioned it on the show last week, had this assumption that it was canceled because it just wasn't good. Um, that still could be the case because this is a report from a place that I believe. But regardless, it's still a report. Obed and I have not seen the movie. There's a lot of things people say tested good, and you watch it and you're like, pump those brakes, buddy. So it really all depends, right? That's all hearsay, from if I was to use legal terms. But when you look at it and you say that something like that, was canceled, and if it did actually test as good as these uh, information that's being said right now from the Wrap, that would lead us to believe that it was probably canceled purely because they didn't want to spend more money to make it the movie that it should be, right? A movie like Black Adam, they got its information of the test screenings and then was able to go into reshoots. And we're going to talk about in a second, but there is a rumor that there's a huge cameo that is going to be happening in a post-credit scene that was added after the recent test screening that was done for that movie that helped bolster it up. So I think when we look back and now we have a little bit more to digest after this information has been coming through to us, Obed, I would say that the reason that I would believe them to have canceled it was just because it was a movie that should have been a theatrical movie, but was made originally to be a television movie. And there's a lot of TV movies that really, like, let's be real, that you could watch a Netflix movie, but would you pay for a lot of those to see it on the big screen in theaters? Most of them, no. There might be a few, but not many of them, right? It works well
Yeah.
at home, doesn't work as well on the screen. And we know that the information that's coming out from even just Netflix revenue, we're going to talk about Disney in a second, their revenue, and these other places, it doesn't do very well for a movie not to have a theatrical event. You got to go big or go home. We're seeing that that's kind of the trend when it comes to content. Quality over quantity is what's being preached by Zaslav over at Warner Brothers, and I think that I can't blame that kind of thinking when I hear this. It's unfortunate
Yeah.
for the people who with the movie, but Obed, what's your thoughts on this? About now updates on the test screenings behind it and what's being said?
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Now, but I never, again, I'm not the type of person that would go and bash the movie. It's like, hey, the movie is like this and this and this and Bad Girl and but I'm, I really I wanted to see it. Right, it's one of those
Yeah,
things. Um, I think that the approach of quality over quantity is good, especially for DC, where they have not being able to really find their footing in in the the whole mist of like Marvel and other stuff happening, right? Um, I think that's a good move. I was talking to one of our coworkers today about the amount of Disney movies that have come out in the last like 5 years, and how many of them like have actually done well, like other than Avengers, right?
yeah,
Um, it's been like hit and miss for the most part.
yeah.
I would say that most of them are good. It's just that they haven't found their like the really big like moment. Like other than probably Encanto, right? Encanto was really good, and he found like it clicked, right?
Right, right.
But other than Encanto, I really haven't seen any Disney movie click. Maybe Frozen 2, right? But that was before Encanto. But
That was a while.
since
Yeah.
since then, they none of the stuff that they've put out has clicked. Um, and the same could be said for Marvel, right? Other than Shang Chi, like it's been hit and miss, right?
Yeah.
Because even Marvel's kind of feeling that right now. I think that that's the right approach. Um, I think that they should still release this movie even if it's on streaming, right? I totally understand the mentality behind it. Um, it's one of those things like it's like they didn't say straight up. Again, I go back to like the wording, right? It's like, oh, the movie's gonna be it's gonna be basically like canned, right? It's not necessarily canceled. It's just that it could be like, what was that movie with Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley
Oh,
that was filmed like 5 years before?
Chaos Walking or
Yeah,
something.
is it gonna be like New
Yeah.
Mutants? Remember New Mutants, right?
Oh, wow. That's a
Yeah,
long running
it's
joke
like
of this
it's like
podcast.
four. Yeah, it's like 4 years, and the movie was canned for like 4 years, and then it came out, right? So maybe they can do something like that.
The difference in this circumstance, based on this interview again with them, is that the reasoning that they went this route was more so that money, that fiscal side, and understanding that they can make this a tax write off if they claim this movie just on their taxes in a specific bracket of as a loss. And if they claim it as a loss, then my understanding is, I'm not an attorney, guys, but my understanding is you cannot release it on any profitable services, specifically streaming services. So it could never live on HBO Max or be sold even to another studio because you've written off as a loss. They can't make a profit from it. Like you would have to like upload it to youtube.com or something with
Mm,
no, and it has to be on a channel that's not monetized. Like there has to be not a single cent that comes from this for them to be able to let people to see
I
it
see.
because of the way it's going to go. So that's why it's like, unfortunately, the writers saying like it will never see the light of day because of that reason, and that's a really sad thing. Now, obviously, even in the version that exists today, it was very much unready. It was only 10 weeks that they had of editing on it, which is a part of the Screen Actors Guild and the directors
It's
unions.
part
Like
of the
you have to
union
have a
thing.
minimum of 10 weeks, even if they're going to kill it.
Yeah.
So it never really got, it would need another at least like 30 weeks of just editing plus money to probably do reshoots for it to even go. And I
Mm,
hate to say, like, not to step on people's dreams, but I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's very improbable that we'll ever see this movie.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
yeah. It's unfortunate. Um, Also unfortunate, Joe. You wanna go? You wanna jump into the official unofficial? Oh, you know what? let's talk Gal Gadot real quick, and then we'll after that
Okay.
we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and talk Ezra Miller. But yeah, so I guess that they approached Gal Gadot as as she's probably the like right now, like I think Wonder Woman is the movie the DC movie that's performed the best, right? The first Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
probably, right? So yeah, they approached Gal Gadot again, and then
So,
I guess she's back for three more movies, like based on the information that's out there.
yeah, and this is again being referenced to that exact same reporter, Umberto, in the same interview. He said that he had heard that she's a team player and she's already done stuff for a few upcoming movies. We would have to imagine that that's got to be either Shazam or Black Adam or both. So one or the other, and you'd have to imagine that there's a good chance that she's in both Flash and Aquaman. I think those two, to me, I feel pretty good about saying
Yeah,
both Flash and Aquaman. The rumors of the reset happening with the Flash stuff, you might need an actress like her to step in to do a scene. Plus,
Yep.
if you just look at the comics in general, Flashpoint, like Wonder Woman, they're all like big in it, right? But then if you look at with Aquaman, the reshoots happening with Ben Affleck's Batman coming back, that would also make sense. Like there's got to be some kind of Justice League element maybe going on there. Maybe that's where. Outside of those two movies, take a coin toss between Black Adam and Shazam. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe it's not three, but maybe it's just two. But it was specifically quoted as multiple projects that she'll be in.
yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's like we were joking today. We were joking today in the office. Khalil, no. We were joking about that today, but you know what? It's but whatever. It's like it's hokey. It's fine. It's totally fine. I don't care.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, she seems delightful, and and everyone that's worked with her seems to have a very good opinion of her. So
and it's
I'm good.
refreshing to keep things that are working, keep them working. The problems that we had with Wonder Woman, the second one, 1984, was not Gal Gadot. That was another problem.
Yeah. Those are
And
writing.
we also got to say, which we'll transition into problematic people. When you have someone who's not problematic doing their job, those are the ones that you keep around.
Oh,
And
totally. Yeah.
so, you don't want to recast only to have
Yeah.
a nightmare individual step in, and then you say, wish we would have chose option B instead of this one. Because I think right now studio execs are saying, golly, why was this person ever put in this role?
Yeah, there was a rumor floating around this week. I don't know if you saw it that Henry Cavill met and things fell through. So
Yeah, that was that was all mentioned in that, and I think I sent you the interview. Make sure you check it out when you guys get a chance. This interview with Umberto and Eric from Fandango and the Rap, but that was also mentioned in the same thing about that had been heard that he's had multiple meetings, multiple chance, like it's been a recurring thing, and he just has not come back. But if a significant thing has happened with the Black Adam movie, I can't help but feel like there's one of two options. One, you have him actually meet Shazam in the movie, right? Or two, you have him meet Superman. I like those are the two biggest
Those
things
are the
I
only
can
ways-
think of from a
yeah.
cinematic standpoint.
yeah, I agree. That's where you would go with that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so it looks like we recovered pretty okay from those technical difficulties.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
what the heck happened. I had to create like a whole new entry in OBS for my mic, and I've had the same setup for the last 6 months. Man,
It's your computer playing games with you, man.
it is. I don't want to work right now. My back hurts. All right. We will take a quick break and we'll be right back. And we're back. All right, Jill. Now, you got three choices. Tell us what they are, and we'll tell you what we'll tell you guys what we think. It's some pretty interesting stuff.
Absolutely. So there's three choices being floated around allegedly right now in regards to The Flash. And this is all being reported by The Hollywood Reporter. Option number one, Ezra Miller gives an interview explaining their erratic behavior and does limited press. Okay. Option number two, Ezra Miller plays no part in the film's promotion and the role's recast. And then number three, being the film gets completely scrapped. These are all being considered as options right now, according to Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, I will say just a quick context thing about the very last one, the film gets completely scrapped. That option is contingent upon allegedly if more harmful legal troubles come out for the actor Ezra Miller. So if that happens, that's where allegedly that's where the leaning towards option three would happen. But options 1, 2, and 3 are all on the board. Obed, what's your thoughts?
I said option two. I don't know. I don't know if it's probably not going to be the most cost effective option, right?
Yeah.
But um, if okay, so here's what we would need to prove. Like if we take option one, right? Here's what they can prove to tell us that things are okay. It would take Ezra to come out and say, "Hey, I know that there's this thing's floating around, and I want to assure you, and here's proof that these people that have been linked to me are fine and nothing crazy happened. Yes, I've made mistakes, right? But the people are safe, and I just did some crazy shrooms, and I went crazy for a month or 2 months or whatever, right? He would need to prove that the people that involved in the whole situation are fine. I'm sorry, they need to prove that the other people involved are fine, and Ezra would have to come out and apologize for the sort of behavior, right? Again, the rumor is that they were showing up for reshoots during the summer while everything was going on, right? So that means that there's at least some sense of like responsibility and stability. So I mean, I could do with one, but I would need proof, right? I would need like, hey, this person's fine. I'm sorry, I took some bad shrooms and I went crazy for 2 months, but I'm back, and I'm gonna be okay. So
I can tell you, if someone on camera at an Oscars event slapped somebody and people went crazy, and you were caught in 4K, and now we've got so much police reports, you including 2 arrests in Hawaii for things that you were actually charged with. There is no way on God's green earth you're gonna step out in front of a camera and say, "Oops, I took some mushrooms and everybody's okay. I might have hit somebody over the head with a chair, but it's okay. And I went to prison for it, but they're okay." You would look like even more of an idiot, in my opinion. And there's no way to prove that you can speak on behalf of if someone else is okay. That's what we call again.
That's why. Well,
And
that's why.
that's
why they would need to prove it, right? They would need to have the people there. It's like, oh no.
And why would
it's
they, in their
fine.
interests, come forward and defend this person who made their life a living hell for whatever reason that they're pressing these charges?
Allegedly, right? So.
Well, I mean, charges have been filed, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, his charges are for what? Is it theft or something like that, right?
Multiple things. We've got the 2 times in Hawaii, right? Or excuse me, 3 things I think in Hawaii that happened. You got the 2 times at a bar, another times trespassing with an actual restraining order, right? And we can go down the timeline. We got what's going on, whatever's going on in Vermont with the theft, right? That we've got again on record there. We've also got another restraining order against a grandmother and a child, right? This is separate from the one we're talking about from the indigenous family that
Uh-huh.
also has spoken as the first people saying that their kid was basically taken hostage as a child. Now might be a legal adult. The thing here, I think you've got like at least 5 or 6 different things that are both actual charges, not just rumors. And the charges that came forth most recently is not the same as an arrest or just charges. The individual, to our understanding, has been charged but has not been arrested. And everything we've heard up to this point is that they haven't arrested the person because they can't find Ezra. So if you ain't done something wrong, why are you hiding? I don't think it's a good idea to have this person in front of the camera for any reason. Even if you do an interview, it's going to make you look like even more of a clown. WB, don't do it. Number one, this cannot even be an option. I'm telling
I
you,
don't
like
know, man.
it will backfire. So no one's gonna go on Twitter and watch this Caucasian gentle person stand up in front of them and say, "Oops, I made a mistake," and then just let the movie go on. We live in a society nowadays where
We
people
live
are
in a society.
very altruistic, bro. And I think already this movie's taken a bat is gonna not gonna do very well, right? But if you can at least stay away and separate your movie from the individual, which is why I say option two as well as you. If you can separate the art from the artist, right? Let's look at the two separate things. Because I think a lot of people they want to cover for the artist to make the art better. That cannot be the route you take. This whatever this person did, they played a part, they did their movie, and whatever happens outside of this, that's on them, not on the movie. And I think that's the stance that Discovery needs to take and say no one else needs to suffer for this other individual.
Yeah.
Let's not make it about them. Take them out of it. It's announced a recasting because allegedly, what happens at the end of this movie is supposed to set up the future of the DCU as a whole. So that's why it's extremely pivotal. But if you don't believe in the movie, and you and I had this conversation earlier, like if this movie is not even good, like it has to be really good for you to really want to still put this out. Don't put it, then you have to go option three. Just
Yeah.
completely kill it. Because if the movie, if we come out and see this movie and it's not even good, and like we had all this drama going on, it's that's I mean that's just basically it cannot be the David Ayer Suicide Squad, right? It can't be the first one, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like everybody's hyping it up, and then you see it and you're like, oh, no, everyone forgets about it. It has to be super special, and it can be, but I just don't even think one can be on the table. I think two or three is the only way you go.
Yeah. I would go with two.
I
Like
agree. I
if
agree. Still see the movie.
still, yeah, exactly. You could make it work. We've seen. I mean, even they probably won't need to like. They could probably just shoot the new footage with a new actor, right? And just put his head on his body. Like they can do crazy things, right? We've seen it before, right? Like Leia.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It
it's
stinks that
not
the
optimal.
character's mask isn't like completely like you know what I'm saying? Like it's not
Yeah.
like Iron Man or something. Like it
Oh,
stinks that
that would have
it's
been
not a
so
role that's like you
easy.
can easily
Yeah,
change out. And that's the unfortunate thing. This is a
man.
character that the face is
And
pretty and there's two Flash because you see two different variants of the Flash
yeah,
in the trailer.
yeah.
So oh
And
my gosh, you
what
can't
what
get
I
away from it.
yeah, what I found really unfortunate, right, is that after Snyder Cut and how we saw the character, not just only Flash, right, but basically like every character done justice in that movie, no pun intended. um it's it's really unfortunate, right, because that's like I saw people tear up in the Flash scene at the end, right, like during reactions. It's like, oh my god, it's like with the music, when the music hits, and because the whole sequence is phenomenal, right?
Yeah, it's really good.
So it's just unfortunate, right, that that Ezra would just go ahead and I can't judge him, right? I don't know what he's going through, and I don't know what's going through his head. So I'm not qualified to judge them, and I'm not, you know, I'm not here to judge. But I do think that when this sort of behavior starts happening and it could affect others, um, I think that you need to evaluate your situation and you know and be more accommodating to the people that you could potentially affect with your behavior. So, but
That's the thing. It's careless, right? Like if you
yeah,
know after, I mean, several incidents now of this stuff going on, you know how badly it's affecting other people, and you continue to carry on. There's something terribly wrong there, and
yeah.
I
I
do
hope they
know
get the
that.
help they need. So
Yeah, I do hope so too. There's clearly something very wrong. I think eventually, Obed, like this might be a few days, a few weeks, a few months, maybe even a year. But even like I think if it's before or after this movie comes out, unfortunately the reputation's been tarnished. Like for this film, like
yeah,
because people will associate the film with, and that's what I think is unfortunate. Because like you've said, there's a lot of things about this movie that really should have been special. Michael Keaton's
it was a
Batman
celebration,
and
right?
Sasha and a celebration. Sasha coming in playing Supergirl, which that's another movie that was supposed to be coming as a spin out of this Supergirl movie. Is that canceled? We don't
We
know.
don't know.
Everyone said we don't really know.
Yeah,
So there's a lot to come from this that is being affected by one individual. Clearly, you didn't delay this movie multiple times because it's not
yeah.
been done editing.
I know. Yeah, yeah, it's unfortunate for sure. All right. So speaking of failing upwards, all right, Disney. So I guess this could be like a the good, the bad, and the ugly sort of thing for Disney, right? They had their earnings call, and everything's great except for Disney Plus, which is doing fantastic when it comes to subscribers. They uh, actually overtook Netflix, but they're losing money. With that said, Disney Plus is adding ads to the standard subscription, but if you don't want ads, you would have to pay what, $4 more, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so it goes up from seven
Yeah.
ninety nine to $10.99. If I'm not
Yeah.
wrong. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that kind of stinks.
It's
It stinks. I don't know. I don't know, man.
it was nice for a while.
It's not. Yeah, it was good while it lasted. Yeah.
You and I said it early on the service just launched, even its
Well,
launch price, and it's been raised a couple times since then.
yeah.
But at launch price, we are like, this is super awesome, a great way to launch your service, but this ain't gonna last forever.
No,
And
absolutely. Especially after they started releasing like original stuff, right? Because they when they
yeah,
launched, it was all archive
right.
material, right? They didn't have anything new. But when Mando hit, it's like, hey, we're gonna go up $1, and then it totally makes sense, right? Um, and I mean, I don't know how much the ads are gonna, how intrusive the ads are gonna be, right? I'm gonna try it with the ads. If the ads are not like very super intrusive, I may just leave it as it is.
Yeah.
If not, I may just go ahead and do it. So, but I'll have to see how intrusive the ads are. I know that there's ad um some things in Prime are have ads, right? If I'm not wrong, like there's certain,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
usually you usually get like a small
Hulu.
banner in a corner, and then it just goes away. That
Yeah.
to me is fine. That's not intrusive. That I don't care, right? Um, but yeah, like the free on YouTube content or movies, right? That's intrusive when you're like every
Yeah.
20 minutes you're just giving me three ads, three 1 minute ads that I can't skip. I don't like.
I
So how do you feel?
I I would say the same thing. Like if it's ads where you've got like your start and your end with an ad, like you start your thing and you've got like three ads before the actual, episode rolls or movie rolls. And then very at the very end when the credits roll like, or whatever, like an ad pops up or something. Okay, that's fine. If it's a pop-up ads around like banners around the sides anywhere, something like that, doesn't bother me. Um, but if it's if it's ads where like every almost like commercial break, like that's the same as cable television. Like that's we're going back to a time. You have cable television where we had to sit there through a commercial break and you'd yell, "It's
Yeah.
back!" You know, when
You've never
when the commercial break was done because you
back
can't
in my
skip it.
day.
You can't skip it. You got to watch it through, right?
Yeah.
So
It's
you know
like
that's tough.
yeah, you know which service was really bad like that. The free Crunchyroll.
Oh, okay.
It's just unwatchable, dude. It's like every 5 minutes you get the same ad. Like it's not even like different ads. Like I remember doing Crunchyroll free. Um, I think it was last year. Well, last year for a little bit before the before Attack on Titan, right, came out. Um, and I remember it's like every 5 minutes it would be the same like car insurance ad that would
Oh
show up. It's
no.
like, why it's so many? Why it's so intrusive? So that's the thing, right? If it's, I'll try it, but we'll see how that goes. That said, Joel, how about that park revenue?
Well, it's not as surprising. Talk about raising prices. Like, you raise prices for your streaming. There's talk of raising prices in the parks. They already have from a year
Again, they
ago. It
already,
was
yeah.
not what it is now. So of course your revenue is going to go up. I I will say that it it's I'm not going to say that it's enough courses an absolute fact that it would go up because they could have raised the prices and people could have stopped going. But the thing about Disney is they have a really good brand. And no matter how much we joke about what's going on from the leadership, all the way to what we're seeing happen in front of us today, Obed, you probably are planning your next Disney trip next year or whatever to the parks. Like
I don't
that's
know.
that's probably something you would consider. Most people, they still say that I would go back on a vacation to Disney at some point. It may not be that they're kind of rushing to open up their wallet, but I'm just saying it's not like they got completely turned away. And I think that's something that keeps the business floating, but there is some salt in the water. There is
Yeah.
some things that I do think that if they keep on the trajectory of raising prices, I would not be shocked that they do end up having a major fall off. Especially, look, things are looking okay right now. Traditionally, there's I can get to some financial market stuff or whatever, but that's not what No Low Time's about. But like there is a possibility that there's a large financial drop off at some point or even early next year. How bad, how long, whatever, we don't know. That's all conjecture until you actually live through. But should something terrible like that happen, Disney ain't gonna be in profit anymore. A lot of
Well,
industries won't,
I,
and people will choose entertainment always, but they'll choose like Disney Plus at home.
yeah.
They won't do it like going to a park.
Yeah, I think the problem that they have right now, right, is that um, back in the day, I don't want to sound like an old man, right? But even when Animal Kingdom opened, and
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom opening wasn't the best opening in the world back in was in '98, right? Um, I Disney is no longer a 4 day destination. Like
Mm,
people that wanted to go into Disney for 4 days and do all the parks, that's impossible.
yeah.
Disney is probably an 8 day destination at this point,
Yeah.
where you need to spend 2 days at the parks because they're so crowded that you're not going to be able to get to do everything, right? And if you want to make it that 4 day destination, you have to like really plan out your days, and like it just takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort. A lot of people are not willing to go through it, right? A lot of people don't know how to do it. Um, but like if you go to at least Walt Disney World with the mentality that, hey, I'm gonna spend 4 days at Disney, I'm gonna do everything. No, it's not gonna happen. Um, I and that combined with how high the park tickets are, right? How the price, right? Um, and how outrageous the rooms are. How it there. I spent a few days at the beach last month, right?
Yeah.
And I spent for the entire thing, gas included, like including the gas that that for my car and food and everything. I spend less money than one night at one of the premium Disney resorts. So it's crazy, right? Um, when does it stop? Well, like I guess never, right? And I think that the consumer and I'm I'm pricing myself out of it, right? Because it's nuts. But a lot of the problem that I've been seeing, Joe, is that there's I think that a lot of problems that we're seeing at Disney World have been exacerbated by social media, and the Disney YouTuber and the Disney TikToker and all this stuff, right? Um, it just everything just made it worse, and it just overall a worse experience. I'm going back to Tokyo Disneyland, right? Where Tokyo Disneyland, again, they are licensed. They're a licensed product. They're not owned by Disney. They do their own thing, but they did say that they were going to raise their prices, but they are keeping the low capacity from when COVID was like hard COVID, right? And they were keeping that because the satisfaction reviews for the park went through the roof when people said, "Hey, yeah, we had a fantastic experience because we were able to walk freely around the park and not bump into people and be able to write stuff and be able to just sit down and eat like quietly and hang out and go to the shops." That to me, that experience is worth more, right? Um, Problem is that you know they don't care. Bob don't care, and he's just gonna cram as many people as he can in the parks, and you're gonna be miserable and hot and wet and smelly, and it's gonna be an awful time. So that's the
You know,
problem that I
as
have right now, and I think that Universal
oh yeah.
they're not doing that right, and they're again offering a very competitive product where you can just go to Universal and you can probably make Universal a 4-day destination, but you can actually do it in two because the amount of planning is just a lot less. But you get a comparable experience. Like
Yeah.
again, I went to Universal last year and that was my first time in many years. It was fantastic, dude. Everything was clean. Everything was clean. The crew members were great. Um, Everything was excellent. Like zero complaints, bro. Versus you go to Disney, like again, the my Epcot rant that from a couple of months ago, when it was a war zone. So it's tough, man. I don't know how they're doing. Well, I know how they're doing it because they're raising the prices for everything, and then saying, "Hey, we made a ton of money because we keep raising our prices." It's like why? It's like Walmart doesn't raise their prices like every other month, and they keep making money. So why can't you? I'm not saying that Disney should be like Walmart, right? But you can take examples from other like retailers and other attractions where you can still maintain a high level of guest satisfaction and not just have these outrageous prices. So I don't know, man. It's been a very strange 3 years for Disney. Very strange, and I mean I don't know when this is gonna like change, but it just keeps getting stranger to me. I don't know. As
Yeah.
former cast member, it's just so weird. It is so weird. So
Yeah, it is super weird. I think you hit it on the head when you said about like the consistency of raising even their prices. People love to use the hot word inflation right now. Disney is not the only place raising its prices, right?
yeah,
Like this is the entire world. This isn't even just an America
but
thing. This is across the world.
but
But
that's the
there's
thing.
an
That's the thing. You can
egregiousness.
yeah, exactly. because
There's
there's
a difference.
yeah, because there's
Yeah.
there's a difference between uh it's like the gas prices, right? Like the gas prices were super high because of costs, but then costs went down and it stayed high because they were price gouging you. That's the problem with Disney. It's like, oh, we're gonna raise it, but then it's just gonna stay there forever. It's not gonna stay there forever. It's just gonna keep going up, even they don't have a reason why, right? It's just like they're like inflation right now. Like there's a really good video. I can't remember if it was Yesterworld or it probably was Yesterworld. My bad if I can't really remember right now, but there's a video on one of the Disney, like the theme park YouTubers, like Yesterworld, like one of the ones that documentary style, right? Um, they did it was like a price comparison, and like inflation right now, like Disney is like 300% over what inflation was is supposed to be. Like
Yeah.
they're not doing the 9% or whatever, right? Or the 30% that we've had in the last 20 years. They were like at a 326%.
I believe
Ridiculous.
it. I believe it. And I think that's where I was going when I was saying like people love to act like like inflation is just a one thing. Like it's hitting everybody, it's hitting all
Yeah.
sectors, and it's not even just an America thing. You go to other
Oh,
countries, you're
absolutely.
seeing it's in a worldwide thing, right?
Yep.
Costs have gone up and things. I mean, just generally, this is not just something that's even happened over the last 12 months, just in general, as time has gone on. Look, you can't buy your Coke for a nickel like your grandfather used to be able to do, right? That's just how things go with time. But to your point, they're doing it at a super cycle, which is why um, people have made the accusations of saying you have this corporate greed. All you care about is money, and so when you have movies like Star Wars or Marvel and these other things, having maybe not the love that people felt for it maybe a few years ago. Um, that's when people say, well, you took something I love and turned it into a cash cow,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not really treating it with the love and care. And people, I think some people feel that way about the parks and some of the other things. I don't want them to turn Disney Plus into that. Like I think the lesson from what's going on right now with HBO Max and Warner, what's happened with Netflix having their shares drop drastically, losing over 1 million subscribers. It doesn't just happen because somebody just felt like it. Like
Yeah.
that's a cause and effect type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Disney's at a point right now where, like I was saying at the beginning, right? Their brand has kept people around just because of the brand, right? Like people will say, I'm gonna
Yep.
go to Disney because I did something I just want to do, whether it's once a year, whether it's when they save up a couple years to go and travel, whatever. That's been a part of their thing, what they've been known for as a destination. But I do fear that they could be of the same effect if this is, of what some of these other companies I just referenced have gone through. They could
Yeah.
come to Disney's doorstep, and like even when you were talking about like the 4 day, 8 day thing, right? Like, I mean, even just the park hours right here in Orlando is drastically been cut. Magic Kingdom. There was a time, dude, where you could leave Magic Kingdom at 3 in the morning, 2, 3 a.m. around like peak seasons.
Yeah.
Like the hard that ain't a thing anymore.
Nope.
If you get there till 11, sometimes 12, like they just started doing that again recently. Those are like the big days, and then that's it. So you're gonna have people waiting these crazy long
Yeah.
lines. You're gonna close the parks earlier, and you're gonna open them
And
later, and then you're gonna have them spend more money.
yeah.
It's a less of an
And,
experience than you would have had just a few years ago.
and I think that even more insulting is the fact that, yeah, revenues at the parks are up 70%,
Sure.
but you know, bro, I expect to see like that place better be freaking spotless. Oh, but we got so too many people. Well, then that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
And they're not solving that problem.
Yeah.
So, they're like Spaceship Earth is falling apart, like literally falling apart, and other rides are like, in disrepair, and other rides break all the time. Like you ride them, it's like, oh, it's broken, you can't ride it. And trash cans full, and bro, it's like honestly, I'm gonna be spending $600 for my family to spend one day at your park. I better have a really great experience, right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. because you're paying the money, but you're just not getting the experience.
I would love to see these executives, like not with no executive experience, walk through the parks as a regular person. I know there none of them are, recognizable faces, so they couldn't really do it exactly. But I would love to see like Bob go wait in line for one of these things and tell me that this is okay,
Yeah, they
because
can't.
it's not.
They can,
But if
dude.
you
It's like once
there's
you
a
get honestly, it's like and that's the problem, and not only at Disney. This is a problem that's like across, you know, multiple I guess enterprises. Is that once you get to a certain level, dude, you just can't sympathize with either
yeah,
the lower employee or your own guest, right?
yeah,
So you start preaching like, bro, Walt freaking Disney was at the
yeah.
park
I
riding
know.
the rides with people.
Yes, yeah,
Are you freaking kidding me?
yeah.
And this
Oh
goes
yeah.
like this, like you think that the CIO of the like not the CIO, like the CFO of Disney is gonna go and wait an hour and a half for Jungle Cruise
Nope.
in Florida weather? No.
Nope.
That are you serious, dude? No. Like
'Cause I don't
they're
even.
not able to get in their shoes.
Yep.
It's like, oh, they get to a certain level. Oh, I'm not gonna do.
They shut the ride down. I get to walk right to the
It's
front and check it
exactly,
out.
yeah.
That's what
No,
has a
it's
different
ridiculous.
experience.
Come on.
And don't tell me we're not paying enough money to have a VIP experience, because
Yeah.
that's what the whole conversation's revolving around.
Yep.
It's an intense thing. We wish Disney well.
Totally.
We
100%.
think there's time to fix it. I
Yep.
think he has a point in the article that came out to the CNBC thing, where he was talking about, like, we have to give the customers, we have to meet their demands. But I think I think you need to understand the demands first, right? Which is some of the things we're talking about today.
Yeah.
But I do think they've got a chance to do something really special. Disney Plus is something that's really well. They've got a lot of things going well for them.
It's a
Let's
good
hope that things.
product.
It's a good product. I do want it to people understand that there's a good direction they can go.
Yeah. I mean, problem is that they need to get people in that give a damn about the company. And I think that's the problem that they're having.
Or maybe
Is
they're just being held back and not
mm,
allowed to do it. I
well,
don't know, man.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe
they're there,
I
but they get cut.
sympathize. Yeah,
Like
they get
once
there, they get cut,
yeah,
or
they
they
get
get
cut.
new leadership. Their hands are tied. They
Yep,
can't do anything. I mean,
that's a
we saw
problem,
what
man.
Iger went through right on his way out.
Yeah.
He's
No,
been
you
not
gotta,
secretive about it.
you gotta get people that care.
Yeah.
Like if you want to succeed. We're running super short on time, but I do have one more thing, Joel. Evo 2022 was over the weekend. Of course, this is the Evolution Championship Series fighting game tournament over in Las Vegas. And there was a few announcements that I just want to touch upon real quick. This is the first arcade one-up that I may go out of my way and find space in this room to actually accommodate. And there's that's the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 arcade one-up was announced. I signed up for the pre-order alert. Pre-order starts, I think, the first week in September, if I'm not wrong. But it has 8 games total. Of course, MVC 2, the first MVC, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men Children of the Atom, X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, that's the SNES game, and Marvel Superheroes in War of the Gems, which is also a Super NES game, not as good as X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. $5.99 and has online. So yeah, signed up for that pre-order, bro, because I think that's the one to get. So
Nice.
pretty good. There's some big announcements when it comes to netcode. So Persona 4 Arena as well as Samurai Showdown are getting updates for rollback netcode instead of delayed base. So this should alleviate a lot of the problems that they're having with online play. But most importantly, Joe, Dragon Ball Fighters is getting the rollback netcode as well. So I'm actually contemplating playing that game again if that's fixed, because that's why I stopped playing it, is because the netcode was so busted that I was like, you know what, I'm good. So that could get me in. And I think the other big announcement here is that SNK is working on a new Fatal Fury game. The last time we saw Fatal Fury was back in 1999 with Garou Mark of the Wolves. So that is in development. They gave us a short trailer featuring Kimberly and Yuri for Street Fighter 6. They both look pretty good. Bridget got announced for Guilty Gear Strive. And that was it. I was able to watch most of the show on Sunday, and it was pretty good. They did very good. I think it was pretty good. One thing, and I did see even players complaining about this, is that the main stage setup was not good, and I totally agree. It was not an optimal setup
Yeah.
for that type of high end play. They should bring the facing each other, two monitors, two chairs, not side by side. They need to bring that back. So if I had only one complaint, it was that. Other than that, the event was really good. So yeah, hopefully we can make it out to see Otaku this year,
Yeah.
and get you guys some content from there. But yeah, Joel, that's what we got. Go ahead and
I
plug us in,
gotcha.
sir.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your day to listen to us and watch us here in No Load Time. We want to invite you to stay connected. It's really important for you to support us, for us to continue to do this as a passion, as a hobby. We need your help. We need your support. So make sure you subscribe to our podcast on podcast platforms like Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, Amazon Music. Check us out on those platforms.
Everywhere.
Write us a review. That would really help us. Write us a review on those podcast platforms so we can help continue and support the show and get it out there to the masses. We also would invite you to subscribe to the video version on the No Load Time YouTube channel. Lots of great content there. We really appreciate everyone who's watching and subscribed, liking those videos, dropping us a comment, and sharing these episodes with your friends and family. Secondly, we want to tell you to make sure you are following us on social media at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok. So make sure you're following us at No Load Time there. Next, we want to tell you to follow us No Load Time Altogether on Twitch. No Load Time Altogether on Twitch. We stream live our episodes there, so we'd appreciate you all to check us out there. And then last but not least, send us an email to noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com with your questions, comments, feedback, and maybe, just maybe, we'll even discuss it on a future episode. Thank you all so much for joining with us, and we look forward to being with you on our next episode.
Thank you, guys. Stay safe. We'll see you again next time.